Yeah, I think there's a number of different risks. Number one is you can, acquire the wrong piece of technology for your business, right? And if you're working with a firm that doesn't really care and the purpose of their business is purely profit and not people,
Hmm.
right? Then you can end up purchasing the wrong system for your business and have a drain on your cash flow, right?
Yeah.
And impact your ability to be profitable as a business. We have $20,000 worth of point of sale equipment in our basement because we have a technology partner that had some things that they still need to work on. And we had about 15 installs that we had to put on pause about a year ago, right?
Yikes. Yeah.
Because we're not, we're not going to recognize a problem and just turn a blind eye to it and
Hmm.
just install it and say, hey, you made the decision. It's on you, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a risk to acquiring the wrong technology, but then there's also a risk when it comes to cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
And PCI compliance and HIPAA compliance and things like that. That business owners are so busy running their business that they don't have time to actually make sure that they're training their staff properly
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
sure things are secure, right? Like things like one of the myths I always hear is that many people believe they can't store a card on file for a customer. You can store a card on file for a customer. It just has to be done in a secure way.
Hmm.
Well, these things impact their ability to be profitable or to collect revenue because if your employees are like, hey, I can't take a card over the phone or I can't
Yeah.
store it, then it's going to take you 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to actually get that money,
Hmm.
right? Um, but then there's also the fact of like, how are you handling customer information, right? How are you handling passwords? How are you handling keeping a list of the different technology providers that touch your customer information, right? Do you have a policy, a cybersecurity policy with your insurance provider to make sure that you're covered in the case that these things happen, right?
Yeah.
That information gets out.
Yeah.
I want to say the numbers on a study that was done by Verizon said that somewhere in the 70 to 80% of businesses are out of business within 6 months of a data breach,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So those are some of the threats that I'm aware of that I've seen customers struggle with, and we just step in and try to help them make sure what they can and can't do when it comes to payment security, but also other things that they should be doing as it relates to making sure their entire environment is secure, from the insurance side to the technology side to the payment side that we work on.
Yeah. Definitely. It can be, like you said, it's challenging to keep track of that when you have so many other things to worry about.
Hmm.
That's probably one of the biggest, obstacles we see to people taking time to actually have this conversation about the risks.
Hmm.
But then it's also, with a lot of the people that you and I help, unfortunately, they don't see how it could hit them or affect them. I'm just a small guy. I've only got 10 employees. I've only got 5 employees, whatever it might be. And more and more, those are the targets of these
Hmm.
types of attacks because it's typically those are the ones that aren't worried about it. It's not like Home Depot, who's been in the news over and over again for cyber attacks and is doing everything they could possibly do, plus has a huge budget to put into that.
Hmm.
It's, oh, this, I know, as I'm, Joe Hacker, this restaurant owner is way too busy to worry about an email that looks a little bit off when I ask
Hmm.
for a payment or I ask for, and so
Hmm.
it's really easy for things to slip through. And like you said, it's usually your employees that aren't trained on what to look for, or they're just too busy.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, that's some good insights. And so, yeah,
Can I add something to that too?
sure.
There's this thing in the payment space where because the industry is not regulated and there's not enough oversight, I'd say, to what happens in our space. There's lots of providers that can come in and just present you with an offer that looks amazing to get you to sign the contract,
Hmm.
right? And then before you know it, you're buying, a piece of equipment that's $200, but over the course of that contract, you're going to pay $10,000 for that $200 piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And I would say that the rush to make decisions is also another risk or a threat to the
Yeah.
business,
That's
especially if you
huge.
don't, yeah, especially if you don't have the team around you that can help you make great decisions when it comes to some of these things.
Yeah, no, that's a good point on the oversight. I was actually thinking about that earlier when you were talking about how someone can sell you the wrong piece of equipment, doesn't even do what you need to do for your business, and then you end up paying for it, and they say, "Oh, you're stuck. You're in a contract," and
Yeah.
they wash their hands of it. In industries like mine where there is oversight, I can get sued for that, and my license can be on the line
Mm,
for that because
mm-hmm.
they came to me as the expert and said,
Yep.
"Hey, I trust you to get the right product or service for my business based on what I told you my needs were."
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's I was actually, we got talking, but I was thinking, does an owner have any repercussions? And it's not, maybe not, probably not as much as what one of my clients would if I gave them bad advice, because they actually have, a pathway to recover that or fix it if something happens.
Yeah. Consumer protection laws don't protect businesses.
Yeah.
So the answer to that really is no. There's really is no recourse other than, hey, I'm gonna go to Facebook or Twitter and out your company for doing this. But
Yeah.
short of that, there's nothing and I've seen this from, we work with companies from 0 to $100 million in revenue, from here to Canada to Europe,
Hmm.
right? Across the board, there's no recourse when a customer signs on the dotted line on something that they didn't read or didn't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's challenging. I think the average person is, thinking there's some kind of protection,
Yeah.
and like you said, the consumer is in a lot of the time, and then
Yeah.
my industry is unique in that there is a Department of Consumer Affairs for insurance,
Mm-hmm.
and it does apply to
Yep.
businesses too. Like,
Yep.
I have to be giving good advice because insurance affects all of
Mm-hmm.
society essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but yeah, no, that is a unique challenge. I'm glad you brought that up. And you just rushing with any decision. That's how we, with cyber attacks, not to spend too much time on this, but with cyber attacks or phishing attacks, urgency is also how they usually take advantage of people. They
Mm-hmm.
say, "Hey, we need this by this date,"
Yep.
or they do it when they know there's deadlines on things coming up where they can jump in. And yeah, so it's just an important thing to think about with, well, you said it about your own business earlier, being able to slow down to speed up and
Yeah.
kind of look at what's going on with your business.